Hello people, welcome back to my channel Fitness Geek. In this video we are going to migrate our Terraform state file from our local system to Azure Storage Account. It's always the best practice to not to keep your state file in your local system, because you might end up losing it, or you might overwrite it, or you might have a laptop crash and you lose the state file. And also, it's not very convenient if you work in a team to have local. You cannot work in a team if you have a locally stored state file. So the best practice is to keep it somewhere in the cloud, which can be accessed by your entire team members. So we have this setup already. We have got like a few lines of code that we have tested before. Terraform is all set. We have run our Terraform, and we have a local Terraform state file. So if you look at the documentation, Azure also, like Microsoft also recommends you to store the state file in Azure Storage. So what it does is it will give you a lot of benefits in terms of uh, you know in terms of working in a team. So because Azure allows this locking system in the state file, so not multiple people won't be able to write the same state file. If you read through the documentation, it will tell you why it is beneficial to store the state file and storage account. And this so it will tell you how to configure it, but yeah, let's go through. This is my state file, and I've got a piece of code that just creates a resource group vnet. We have already run that, so there should be a state file. A state file should already be updated. What we are going to do is we'll migrate it into Azure Storage Account. I've just gone through one of the blogs which talks about this, to make sure that what I'm doing is exactly what you need to do. I'll share this link as well for you to read it and understand in depth. So what we will need is a resource group for the storage account. Create a storage account, create a container, and then we will need the access keys. So in this tutorial we are actually using the storage account access keys to store our state file. If we look at the Terraform's official backend setup for Azure, you'll see various ways of doing it, like with client certificates, client secrets, with the Azure Active Directory authentication, with storage account access keys, with storage account SaaS tokens. So there are multiple ways of doing that. So you can just have a read. It's You see, this method is using the MSI, uh, OpenID, Azure AD authentication, and the access key. So we are going to use the access keys from our storage account. So Terraform, there is a block inside the Terraform block called backend, and this backend block is what tells Terraform where the state file is located. We have already created a storage account, and we have kept it outside of the actual resource group where we have configured our Terraform to create resources. So this will be a storage account where you don't want any uh, mistakenly deleted files, so you just keep it separate. And yeah, this is the container. I've created a container. There are no files currently. Let's go back, and we will need the access keys. Let me copy the access keys, and in the notepad I've got my resource group. This is the resource group where I have created the storage account, then the storage account name, the container, and the access key. So this is how we will. Okay, let me think I have copied it, so let me paste it here. No, I don't think I have copied it. Okay, let me copy the access key. So this is just part of the configuration that you will need. Terraform provides you with that block of code. You just need to replace the access key now. Let me paste it here. Alright, so let me copy this all together. We'll be using this in our backend block. So if you see, there's a backend block called Azure RM, and inside that we will have all these settings. Alright, so let's go back to our Terraform. That's a mistake. It should be inside the Terraform block. If you see here, so there's a Terraform block, and inside we have a backend block. So let me create the backend block here. Backend Azure RM, and then let me paste all the settings that we have already defined. Just a bit of indentation. Let me do that. And that should be good. Let me save it. Alright, everything looks good. You would see that I have, given the access key, which is a sensitive information. I should not be doing that, but we'll show you how to hide that in your local setup in the later part of this tutorial. So I did a Terraform init, so I have to reinitialize everything because we are changing. So if you go and read through, do you want to copy existing state for the new backend? Pre-existing state was found while migrating the previous local backend to the newly configured Azure RM backend. So it's just telling you that you are trying to migrate your state file, and it is just asking you to confirm. Enter yes to copy, no to start with an empty state. And I will say yes because I want to copy it, and it's done. So it has reinitialized. I've got the state file here. It has just created it. If you see the timestamp, to successfully configure the backend. So it is done. We have migrated our state file from our local system into the storage account that we created. Looks good. At this point of time, you can delete the local state file, and your Terraform will be unaffected. But you need to make sure that your state file has been successfully migrated. Otherwise, you'll end up deleting your state file, and yeah, that can cause a lot of chaos. Let me try to do a Terraform plan. No changes. Okay, that's all right. That's what was expected, because we did not make any configuration change in terms of the infrastructure. So yeah, it is picking up the previous state that we had in our state file. Let me go ahead and drop my local state file. I don't need it anymore. That is deleted. I can do the Terraform plan again. It should just tell us that no changes, because the configuration matches the existing infrastructure. So all is well. So we have successfully migrated our state file from local system to Azure Storage Account. So if you see the state file, it has got the resource group that we created before. So the state file has all the information about it, the virtual network. So the migration was completed successfully. Now you must be wondering that we have stored those access keys hard coded in our code, which is obviously a very bad practice. Any sensitive data that you have should never be stored in your actual configuration files. So what are the options do I have? What we're going to do is we'll just store this as an environment variable, the access key. And there's so Terraform recognizes a few environment variables, and for access keys it is arm underscore access underscore key. So we will just copy the access key into the command for storing the environment variable. Let's just copy that and let's run it. It will create that, store that sensitive information in environment variable as an environment variable. That is done. Now I can delete the sensitive bit from here. Yeah, so Terraform knows that what it has to look for in terms of environment variables. So when there is a backend configuration, it will go ahead and look for that particular environment variable. So if you see, Terraform is programmed to look for the environment variable in the absence of the value in the configuration file, which is exactly what we want. So this should run all right. Let me go ahead and do a plan again, because we have changed how it should be working, because it cannot find the access key directly. So it says you need to initialize it again. And when you do a initialize, it will again pop a error saying that you will need to run Terraform init migrate state or Terraform init reconfigure. So we will be going with migrate state. Init migrate state. Works all right. Let's run a Terraform plan again, and this should again tell us there's no changes. And that's it for today. We have stored the state file in storage account, and we have made sure that our access keys are hidden. Uh, you can read through all the proper documentation from Terraform and Azure and the benefits of doing this, because you will be able to work more in a collaborative way with your entire team. So this is one of the best practices that you should always have. If you like this video, please do drop a like and please do subscribe if you haven't yet. Thank you so much for all the support so far. Thank you.